So this is a page from one of my books. It's called Contemporary Blues Chords and Comping. And this is something I give to my students when they are interested in learning 7 chord shapes. And at the same time, they don't really want to go straight into jazz or learn a song from the 40s. This is something that could fit a blues or an R&B tune. And it's all stuff that you probably have heard before. And again, here you can use all the 7th chord shapes: major, minor, dominant, and half diminished. Obviously, this being a blues, that doesn't contain very many major 7 kind of shapes, but there's some of that. So I'm going to just play it. Again, the book comes with backing tracks, with a track, backing tracks, with example tracks. But I'm just going to play it as written, so to speak. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. So that's that section. So you can hear that gospel style. Obviously, I've pretty much played it as it's written, but at the same time, you can take some liberties and make some variations, especially rhythmic. So again, I start with that C7 chord shape. It's quite straightforward. 1, 3, flat 7, root again. And in the next one, that's a 2-5. In minor. So what I want to try and do is go from B minor 7 flat 5 and then up, move that shape, and this is a slightly clever trick. Instead of E7, even though the page says E7 in jazz, you're pretty much free to substitute. You don't have to play a straight E7 unless you're playing maybe in a show where they require you to play exactly what's written. But here I'm taking some liberty to play basically D F diminished over E. And a lot of people tend to think of these as substitutions, but to be honest, the way I think about it is this shape touches certain notes. And as the flat 7, we're talking about obviously in E7, flat 7, D, G sharp 3rd, F sharp 5 here, C, or B sharp technically, and then I have that flat 9 there, that F natural. Then I go to A minor 7, and I can play by bending my ring finger, or some people play it this way. Either way work. Then I chromatically go down to G minor 7, C7 9, 1 3 flat 7 9. And I play F7, F diminished. And you can see how this is a classic, very, very simple move where you change just the root, because a dominant chord, all it is just a dominant 7 chord with the root up step above. Then here I do like a cliche move again, and do it with my ring finger. So I play like a triad on the 4. So F triad to that minor to major, and I play the root with my thumb. This is one of the first things that you learn to comp in a blues, really. And B flat 7 to A7. Same shape as that F. So you see that these shapes are, I'm not sure what they call, like drop 2, sometimes they call them. I think that's the one. And then D7, 9, again. G7, the same shape. And then C7, A7, D7, G7. So That's a turnaround, basically, 1, 6, 2, 5, but they're all secondary dominants. So instead of being, 1, minor 6, minor 2, dominant 5, all of those are dominant. So dominant, A7, D7. It's a bit more old school, so to speak. So you can see that here, even though I've gone through a blues with substitutions, it's something a bit like, that kind of Charlie Parker, was it Blues for Alice? Pretty much this is what this substitution is. So again, I'm using these shapes, very basic shapes for dominant chords. This one, then if I had to play C, that one again, just played in many sections of this in different from different roots, F7, B flat 7, A7, and so on. I've added a 9th shape, which is applied that at the end of that first line, or D as a D. So, this is a way for you to learn something that is musical. As a matter of fact, look how, the melody, this is something that I usually tend to pay attention when I create chord progressions, even when I'm improvising them, so to speak. I try to listen to the melody at the top, So you see that these are quite smooth melodies. There are no crazy jumps. That could be a line that works well as an arrangement. So that's something to really pay attention to when I'm trying to so kind of a singable melody, so to speak. And at the same time, I try to connect chords in a way that is quite smooth, so to speak. I try not to do, let's say, if I had to do, big jumps. So probably could work in a melody, in a solo, but there might be a way to make it work, like by sliding. But in general, I'd say try to find, if you're comping, try to stay away from stuff that are too that take the attention away from the soloist, so to speak. Try to keep low profile. That's it, I think. In the second video, I'll try to explain how I solo over this chord progression. That might give you some ideas as well on how to analyze what's going on, really. Okay, take care.